One of the specialties of the Palais is la sauce Vierge, which they in fact bottle and sell in their boutique. La sauce Vierge is made in Provence from ripe tomatoes and onions and wonderful things, lots of herbs and olive oils. It's a summertime dish. Here in the U.S., we're just now recovering from a terrible polar outbreak, and the last thing you'd want to think to do was go out and pick a ripe tomato. So I've come up with a version of it made for wintertime. Before that, however, I wanted to make one historical note about the Palais, that is the French White House. And of course, Emmanuel Macron is the current resident, but years ago that was occupied by Charles de Gaulle. And there is the funny or not so funny story, which is portrayed in the film The Day of the Jackal, when there was an assassination attempt made on him a couple of years before the Kennedy assassination. In DeGaulle's case, it was much better because he emerged unscathed from the incident. There were a group of Confederates who were opposed to the Algerian independence who decided to assassinate him. And they waited in the little town of Le Petit Calmart, which is near Vélizy, where there is an Air Force base. And he was on his way there in a motorcade, and they opened fire on him with machine guns. His chauffeur put his foot to the pedal and got him out of there and whisked him to the airport. And he got out of the car and he said rather dryly, "Ce gens ne savent pas tirer," which means they just don't know how to shoot. Here we have ingredients for the sauce Vierge. These are some plum tomatoes or Roma tomatoes from Mexico, and they have absolutely no flavor this time of year, so they're more there for color. I have some sun-dried tomatoes to give us a little bit more zinc, and also a little bit of tomato paste for that same reason. Green onions are starting to come in. They're very pretty. These are some almonds, which are common in the south of France. I should say there are as many recipes for sauce Vierge as there are for pot au feu. Everybody has their own way of doing it, and all of them are different, and I'm sure all of them are good. In this case, I'm following the one the Palais uses, and so there's some candied, what are those things? They're lemon peel. And this is a vinegar here made of figs, and a little bit of, you can see this red here is a piment d'Espelette, and with some brown sugar and white wine vinegar, and all of that's been setting. So that's about it. Oh, and a shallot here, I forgot that. Put all of this in a blender and off we go. I meant to say that in France, normally this is not emulsified like this. The sauce is simply a mirepoix or whatever, brunoise of all these various things all chopped up with some olive oil. But I decided to do it this way to make it just a little different. And of course to hide the fact that some of that isn't exactly fresh vegetables either. So the next step is to put in some olive oil, and I'm going to turn this back on. As you can see, that was a disaster. Put the damn lid on it first and then pour it through the hole. Now let's continue on with this done correctly. Well, here is the freshly made sauce Vierge. I've just spent 15 minutes removing it from the walls, the ceiling, and my freshly colored hair. So, I hope this is worth it. I'm going to make some tuna with this. I went to the market this morning hoping to find some beautiful Chilean sea bass or whatever, but Kroger's has gone downhill so much they're now selling packaged stuff like Aldi's with no expiration date on it. And let me tell you, don't buy it. Don't trust their fish, period. So I was wound up with some frozen tuna, which I know is actually going to be good, so we'll do that. This is tuna mi-cuit in French, which means halfway cooked, though might be less than that, really. But you still got the pretty color. And so I just put it over our sauce, and here's some lovely little Mexican tomatoes that I peeled. I put them in and got the skin off of them to give it just a little color. And I hope, olives would be good with this since it's Provençal. And lacking anything better, there's a green onion for a little bit of a decoration. And maybe here I have a lime leaf as well. That might be pretty in there. Oh, there you have it. La sauce vierge au thon mi-cuit.